Commissioners, you're on mute, just heads up.
I know.
And we also have Katie Casey in Zoom land. So with that, we're gonna start to we're gonna change up the started with the consent agenda and get some information on Hero Pups update. So Jason, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna step out of the way. So this morning here, we have brought Comfort Dog that we're partnering with the Hero Pups to train, and Tony Sherman, our investigator, will be our main handler. And Meatball is here, but I'm gonna turn it over to Tony and his crew over here to talk about the Comfort Dog. I'll get out of the way. Huh?
Where do we go from there?
Anywhere you want, it doesn't matter.
Okay. I'm Investigator Sherman. We are here with Meatball, Comfort Dogs at the jail in the county. Hero Pups is here with us to show everyone at the meeting, give them a first glance at Meatball. So with us here is Laura from Hero Pups. Would you like to speak about Hero Pups? And
So we're an all volunteer organization and we train dogs that help people. In this particular case, Meatball was a perfect fit for the county and we were thrilled to be able to partner with him. He is going to be transitioning relatively quickly and Tony's been great to work with as well as a super to bring Meatball in so that he can, you know, help change some of the work environment for the staff and really bring a morale boost and be available for cuddles. I mean, when we came down the hallway, I heard everybody was very excited that he was here. You know, imagine that on a day-to-day basis.
But we also were able to get Tractor Supply to provide food for Meatball, partnering with one, if not a couple of vets to do his annual stuff and the routine stuff. We're probably going to join on the nationwide insurance for the dog as well too, so that we have some more coverage. Tony is, you know, bought the vest over there. He won't let me pay for it. John buying a bed. He won't let me pay for it. So I got people stepping up all around that want to make this very successful, and it will be. Staff's excited. Obviously, all of you and other department heads have reached out already and stuff, and we'll be the first county to actually have a Comfort Dog. So looking forward to this and it's how it goes. It's been great. They did take him for a tour. It's absolutely no problems with the doors. The only issue was, I believe, he was interested in the inmates up on the top tier.
Yes.
He had never seen people up that high.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about a little bit about maybe some of the other places you partnered with the Comfort Dogs and those kinds of things. And also, I know you come down to our PTSD study committee, and there's some laws where you're also looking on because it's a good opportunity to talk about it. Our legislators are also in listen to this, and we have contact with all of them too.
So Hero Pups, we placed the first Comfort Dog in all of New England with Comfort PD. Since then, we have done, oh my goodness, I'm going to leave somebody out and I feel bad. We have done Manchester, Portsmouth, Salem, Claremont, Hudson. They're everywhere. We are very particular about what departments we work with because we want to make sure that there is that helping people component, not just a mascot. So, you know, we're not new to the Comfort Dog world. There is actually a standard that I've been requesting for years because when we placed the first dog, there were some agencies that kind of thought, well, that's a great idea. We'll go out and get a puppy without a plan. So because I'm friendly with Senator Birdsell, I was asking her, is there a way to make a minimum level of training that's required to have a Comfort Dog? We were making good progress and COVID happened and things slowed down. There were other things that were more important. Luckily, we are making very good traction with this. In fact, I was just kind of filling Tony in, asked her down to present to the National Summit of Legislators, there we go, in August. So there will be a minimum level of training that will be required for comfort dogs moving forward. Luckily, we excelled past that. So by the time Meatball leaves, Tony and Meatball will have certifications, they will have a resume. They will have all these wonderful things accomplished. Unfortunately, we can't do it with Meatball. It has to be the handler and the dog. So there's a lot of great things happening. This is our first Department of Correction dog that we have placed specifically for the agency itself.
Let me in.
We do have a partnership with another Department of Corrections where the inmates inside, they train the puppies. We go in, we train the inmates. That's actually restarting again next week. So it's a great way to have kind of, we call it the triple win. It gives the inmates purpose while they're there. We can let them focus on more of the basic obedience stuff, and then a veteran or first responder gets a service dog to help them with their psychiatric challenges.
So
I just got one question. Do you have 9 more dogs? Cause usually whatever Rockingham does, the other 9 counties do.
They can get mine.
And Senator Burnsdale's been very great, because they come down to our post-traumatic stress syndrome committee and spoken, and Justin, who's over in, was he Manchester? No, he's
He's in Manchester,
Manchester,
also one of
comfort
our
dog.
handlers.
yes, and he comes to meetings, so we are actually part of our focus, and this time around with the committee meeting again, is comfort dogs, is working on, can we put something in a bill forward that would help put standards forward and solidify this, because there's some other states who maybe below us, what they're looking at might be too much. See the nodding of the heads, because I'm talking about too much. We want to make sure that this is good training, it's appropriate, and those kinds of things for New Hampshire and our residents here, and putting it in law would be helpful. Then you just can't have just somebody slap a puppy on, say it's a comfort dog. There's got to be metrics and criteria, and that's currently we're partnering with them, working with them, doing that right now on that committee that I sit on. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can say, well, thank you for your work in terms of training the dogs and distributing them to communities. And I know I've seen both empirical and anecdotal evidence in support of that these comfort dogs really are effective in sort of reducing stress, helping in situations in all sorts of different capacities, whether it's victims, whether it's and particularly in the correctional setting where you are confined, it is a highly stressful situation. That few minutes petting a comfort dog can make all the difference in the world. So we are grateful for it and really excited for this opportunity at Rockingham County to have the comfort dog. And so thank you so much.
I'm thrilled.
I'd be remiss not to say that Lieutenant Norton spearheaded and started this, been on my case for a while. I wanted to do this, accelerate my time frame, because he was smart enough to put a picture of the dog on my desk and looked like Petey from Little Rascals. I'm like, oh. Then he told me name's Meatball. I'm like, that's it. I said, that light lift. I'll go to the commissioners. We'll get this done. So I shout out to him, who's really been pushing hard to get this and done a lot of work, and Tony as well. We have other secondary handlers. A lot of people step up. Officer Evans out there working on getting us a vet and those kinds of things. It's been a team effort. I thank everybody. It's not me. It's all them doing it. So.
Well, it's just not another example of that aspect of the Rockingham County team, which we see over and over again. So it's like, it's nice when you get like a little, another example of that. And I think it's, again, in terms of the team, that Meatball will be a valued member of the Rockingham County family, not just at the Department of Corrections, but across the complex.
And I will invite you all to, eventually when he's on staff, to graduation, because he will get a certificate number through the New Hampshire Association of Counties Corrections Academy. Well, Max over in Merrimack County, he also has one as well, their dog over there. When I had one at Carroll, not comfort dog, we also put that dog through the academy. Let's say that they show up for the graduation, the certificate will be a number of certified corrections.
Listen, Jason, did you get the Meatball some swag?
Yeah.
You're getting vests. Does Meatball have a
I was
vest?
like a coat, right?
Yeah.
Something. Oh, you do?
Well, the best that's on, Tony, Sherman picked that up yesterday, day before.
Yeah.
good.
That was,
That was just
that's
for
actually
you
donated,
guys.
that was donated by Hero Pups, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's really
Awesome.
nice. That's really nice. I was
And
joking.
we got patches on him. And just so everybody knows that as much as he's gonna be worked and used every day in the jail, our intent is to get around the facility.
Yeah,
So if anybody has an employee that is having a, has had a loss or, and wants me to bring them over, please, just pick up the phone, call me, shoot me an email, I have no problem. I'll take them over, let them sit and hang out for a little bit, like, no problem with that. That is the ultimate intent, is not only to help us, to help the whole county, and we got a brand new building going next door. We're gonna have the, county attorneys over there, I mean, there's gonna be some more departments, but our intent is to get around, it's not just to be just in the jail.
We organize as such that those that are secondary handlers, and those kinds of things are on positions that would not take away from my minimum staffing level. So if I head to in a pinch, Tony and these other ones that are there are in positions I can move them out going, okay, we're gonna switch you around. This is important to go over there. So we've been trying to be strategic in how we're doing this as well.
well, it's great.
Can I just add that the comfort dogs that are out there, they are so busy that we were getting so many requests to try to fill in the gaps, when there was a critical incident, that we have our own in-house comfort dog, kind of just on
It's
call,
pretty funny.
because we needed it, because Manchester was trying to do so many different things, and when you look at the map, you'll see that they're spread all over the county. We have 2 in Rockingham, but they're with municipal PDs, and they're busy. They're very busy, and I know the county attorney's office, one of them frequents up there, but it's a haul for them. And being able to have one so close to the availability, I think will be really beneficial, and he's got a great story, which y'all have to wait to hear. But, he's got a great backstory, so it's a really good icebreaker. So, some people don't want to get into their feelings easily, but you start talking about the dog's story, they start talking.
And
Connection.
where are you guys located?
And Stratum. Yeah, so we're close by.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really, we appreciate it tremendously.
Thank you very much. And now I might have a staff over there waiting to patiently to also speak.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I got to ask this morning. I stopped in.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move to because I know the sheriff's department, so, I'm gonna take a motion at this point to suspend the agenda and bring forward items 4B and 6A, and then we can go back to the.
So move.
Yeah. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. So, let's move to 4B, the exception request for, multiple employees filling a single position at the sheriff's office.
Will be, okay, I'll make a motion to approve an exception request to personnel policy, multiple employees filling a single position for 2 sheriff's office employees, EC and KM, as recommended by the senior director of human resources. Second.
Is there any discussion about this? Simply, this is a transition, and I think, because it's such a vital role, it makes sense to have this overlap for training.
I think it's essential.
Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Tombrello, Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay, now we're moving to 6A, which is the sheriff's office, comp apps fund request.
Make a motion to approve final accurate payout for sheriff's office employee KM. And the comp abs fund instead of the staff salary line is recommended by the high sheriff.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Is this normal? Was this one a normal payout, or was there some exception that was made here?
The only exception is that normally payouts that go to the comp abs fund are generally for only those that are either planned retirements or people who are eligible to retire. Those ones, the departments notified me during the budget process, and therefore they're on the list that if they were to leave or retire, that the payouts would go to the comp abs fund. This is an exception because obviously it wasn't known or thought of that
that, this individual will be leaving. So it's an exception to practice as far as for having these payouts at separation, not retirement. Separation going to combat fund. It has been done before. It's definitely not the first time this has been done. It's just that when I do the budget process, I don't anticipate that everyone's gonna leave and budget for all their unused balances. That'd be a large budget.
Okay, thank you, Chuck.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow? No, yes.
I just asked a question on that. Now that we're talking about Catherine Mann. Catherine, when is your last day?
So my last full day here in the office is gonna be Thursday next week. And then I'll be staying on, obviously to help train Aaron, so thank you for that approval. And then February 8th, I'll switch over to a per diem status.
Well, I don't have. to
Unless I handcuff her to a chair.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you for putting that forward. I appreciate it.
No problem. Do you guys have anything else you want to update before you sign off?
Nope, status quo, we do continue to be very extremely busy over there. We're doing a lot more investigations. Everything that goes along with law enforcement for the county. We did put another dispatcher on. And we have another dispatcher on. We've been doing interviews. I think we're gonna be down to 2 dispatches. And it's looking good. Resumes are coming in. I'm doing a great job getting people to come over. Otherwise than that, have a great rest of your week.
With that, then we can move back to the adult diversion program update. Allison,
Yeah,
take it away.
Good morning. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Allison Mailer. I have worked for corrections for a long time, minus a little brief lapse in judgment. So I have been working for the adult diversion program since I started with the county. And presently we take misdemeanor felonies. I've recently been asked about violations, but circuit court and superior court cases. So I have, a couple weeks ago, I was meeting with Lieutenant Conroy, who is my immediate supervisor, and I was showing him or kind of going over with him what I have been up to. And I had told him and showed him some pictures of some donations that have been made to some local organizations within the county, by way of diversion participants. And so for those of you that don't know, diversion participants are required to perform community service. And it depends on their time frame, how long they're in, and how many hours they have to do. But back when COVID happened, I had all of these people that had this community service requirement. Well, we were told we're not allowed to be around people. And all of these nonprofit organizations, while they didn't shut down, I mean, they still were trying to help people. But nobody could go perform hours. And so I had reached out to Merrimack County Diversion, and I had asked them if they ever did any type of donation in lieu of community service hours. And they said, yes, we do. And it was a monetary conversion. And so I didn't want to let diversion participants off the hook, but also keeping in mind, I mean, we were in, a pandemic. And so I did this one, and I ran it by former superintendent Church at the time. And then I reached out to the courts and I said, can I do this? Because it was a court order. And so they all said, yes, we're fine with that. So at that time, back then, it was $1 per hour. And I mean, we were in a pandemic. And so I didn't want to be unfair. And so at that time, what I would do is I would reach out, and all the nonprofits that I reach out to are within Rockingham County. And I would ask them basically what their wish list was. And so it could be a food pantry, a homeless shelter, animal rescue organization. And so I would get these wish lists, and then I would collect gift cards from diversion participants, and everybody gets receipts and all stuff like that. And then I would go out and I would buy whatever these organizations needed. And I've continued to do that since COVID. I offer that option to all of the diversion participants. Some of them jump at it, and some of them want to do community service, and some of them do a mix of it. And so some of the organizations that have benefited from the diversion participants' donations are Gather. I would, if Investigator Sherman were still here, because he used to work in the same community corrections office that I do, he would tell you that at times over the years, the waiting room has been overflowing with donation, like with items that were going to these nonprofits. So Gather has benefited. There's an animal rescue organization in Northwood that has benefited. And, you know, when you think of nonprofit like a cat organization, people donate food, they donate litter, but they don't think of the other things that these organizations need. So I call up the woman that runs the program and I say, what do you need? And she says, I need a box of copy paper. I need a mop, you know, and so it's these outside of the box things that we've been able to help with. One of my favorite, I have two favorites. Back in 2000, I think it was in 2022, the Child Advocacy Center in Rockingham County. Every child that goes through that organization, that is seen by them as being impacted by a crime somehow, is given some stuffed animals on their way out. And so what I did was my office and waiting room was overflowing with stuffed animals. These are all those little squishy ones. And so it was, I was happy to bring probably 50 stuffed animals over so that these children can benefit from the diversion program. And during the holidays, as many of you may know, Rockingham County Meals on Wheels, they do a Santa type of thing for their for the people that are, utilize their services. And so this past holiday season, we adopted about 10 participants from that program, and we're provided with the list, socks and stamps and note cards and puzzles and then we just do this shopping, and we bag them all up. And this year we received some really nice notes from the people that utilize those programs. And so when I had relayed all of this to Lieutenant Conroy a couple of weeks ago, then he went back over to the jail and he showed Superintendent Henry and talked to him about what was going on. And I got a phone call from Lieutenant Conroy and he said, I apologize in advance, but you're gonna go talk at the commissioners meeting about it. And so it's just, it's, while I have seen that diversion participants definitely, the reward from doing actual community service hours is there. But when they come into the office and they see all of these items that are going to these organizations, whether it be a person or an animal or, a family, they're like really proud to be involved in giving back to the community that way. And that's a really important part of the diversion program, to assist them in a number of different ways in exiting, the criminal justice system.
But, and you also brought some pictures over, I believe.
Yes.
Well, it was brought to my attention. I wanted to just, it's, so people know what, again, it's been a while since I talked about adult diversion, and then letting everybody know that there's other options besides just the community, volunteerism, that kind of things out there, community. But this other option is great. Definitely, I think it's worked out and I only hear positive things about it. So I just wanted to come over and let you know things that we're doing since it's under our budget.
I can speak, I probably more than anyone have, we interact not frequently, but on various cases. And just backing up, so when you talk about the diversion program, what it is when someone is charged with a crime, it's a rehabilitative program to either avoid a conviction or have avoid incarceration and so the goal really is centered on rehabilitation as Allison said, to exit the criminal justice system. And so I think that this idea is so remarkable and wonderful because it's like the participant in the diversion program is getting, that is part of the rehabilitation process in terms of contribution, but then it's like we're taking that and then investing it back into the community, so to help other people. So It's
And
like,
the program pays for itself, Allison does
Yeah.
a weekly report and shows that, you know, what it costs if they're inside the facility compared to being out, so it is saving taxpayer dollars because they're not being incarcerated, which means we're also not paying the medical bills and all these other things that come with it, it costs a lot of money. And we get a report every single week of that savings, so it's you can think of it as almost self-funded because it is saving us, taxpayers, quite a bit of money.
it's saving incarceration where you may not getting all of the, some of the benefits of from a treatment side or component for rehabilitation. I mean,
That, and they're able to still work,
Yeah.
so they're contributing in the community, they're at home with their families, there are all these other things that wouldn't be able to do inside the jail that we would just be paying for, and so this is helpful.
yeah, and you've been a wonderful resource for the courts for years and years. So I know that everybody, you're so responsive and we, from a court, not from a count, I'm looking at it actually from the prosecutorial side of it, but how, and defense side, which is like, you're so responsive and, really, participants have nothing but good things to say about their, and so it's really worked well. And thank you for your efforts. Thank you for this great idea. I mean, it takes some effort to go through all of the channels to get this done. And, so thank you. Thank you. Thank you for bringing.
History will show too, but
Yeah, please.
history will show that the diversion program, I remember when I first got elected in 2012, we had over 300 inmates. You look at drug court, the diversion program, the bracelet program, you're probably gonna tell us today superintendent is about 140 in the jail. I mean, it's amazing but that program is one of the ones that really has been successful to get these people back where they belong, and the program has worked, so.
And reduce recidivism,
Yeah.
right? That's like
That's the
fundamentally
key,
the goal.
One and done, I like it, be here once and don't come back, I like it. Yeah.
Yes, that is the hope.
Yeah, that's a great program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
You can keep. Okay, well, we're still on our consent agenda and I'll take a motion regarding our minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the December 12, 2024 public and non-public meeting minutes and the December 19, 2024 non-public minutes.
Second,
Okay, any discussion?
no, I looked at them, they look good.
That's good. Thank you, Leila. On the motion, Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
Commissioner Tombrello,
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay.
I was
You
an
were-
invited guest on one of them, but I'm gonna abstain. I did read it.
okay, and I vote yes. Moving on to adult medical daycare payout report. Chantel, do you want to speak to that, or does anybody else want to speak to it?
It looked typical to me,
Yeah.
there was,
Yeah.
we're right on schedule, nothing unusual is going on,
We're on budget for halfway through the year. The
Right.
thing that I think is, what I am thrilled to see is last year we were not expended this much. We have, I think, if we compare this year's, participant list over last, we're, I think, hitting a lot more people. So that's good. Anybody else?
Nope.
Okay, we have some surplus equipment requests. So,
I'll make a motion to approve a surplus request pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 28A, -A, 28A and declare two Arjo Bolero bath trolleys for long-term care services surplus with the items to properly disposed of.
second,
any discussion? Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Tombrello,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu,
yes,
and I vote yes. One more.
a motion to approve a surplus equipment request pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 28:8-A and declare a Vitascan geriatric medical from long-term care services surplus with the line item to be properly disposed of.
second,
Any more discussion? Commissioner Godu,
yes,
Commissioner Tombrello,
Yes,
and I vote yes. Okay, payroll.
motion to approve the payroll expense in the amount of $1,520,679.74 for the period ending January 11th of 2025.
second,
Just a mild amendment to that. I think it's 570.
570.
It's 579, not 679.
Oh,
So,
570,
yeah.
Okay,
No, yeah.
okay, yeah.
Any discussion?
No.
as,
It's up a little, we got an explanation. Yeah.
right, and that's just some end of the year payouts. On the amended motion, Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay, we're up to reports. Does anybody have any commissioner updates?
Is this, you guys usually tell like some of the events you've done during the week?
Yeah, just anything you want to share.
Well, when we go first, I've been a busy boy over here. I think I've been here every day since I got elected. I'm in my new office. My first guest in my office was Superintendent Hendrick. I'll remember that. Hopefully 20 years down the road, I'll remember that. I had attended the meeting across the street, the building meeting on Tuesday morning with the whole group over there, and went through where we stand with the building, and then I was lucky enough to get a tour. And I was really amazed. I hadn't been in there for a month or so to see the difference in a month. It's pretty, we're gonna be pretty, the most surprised I think is, I wanna see the reaction to Pat Conway, because I know that little closet she's in over there down the street. When she sees what she's gonna get, I got a feeling she's gonna be emotional, because it's amazing what she's gonna get.
I mean, and it's not just her, all of the county
Oh.
attorneys, they're sharing offices. That is so challenging to be in an office with another attorney, trying to talk to victims or making calls. It's.
And I was telling
It's gonna
Doug-
help recruitment of attorneys.
It is,
It's
absolutely.
such
Oh,
a
yeah,
nice
you won't
thing.
be able to walk in and say, this is your office. You go over there, you're like, I'm leaving that for that.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, even like
Productivity.
the bathrooms with the tile and, and it's just, when I tell you, we're gonna be completely amazed. Kathy Stacy, though, I don't know how she pulled up. Her office is stunning. Her office is stunning, on top of that, I got a tour with Jude. I went over the delegation building. I haven't been able to see that since the new renovations, happened, so. Then I met with the superintendent for about 2 hours in my office, and we beat up and tossed around the ice situation, and we have some scheduled interviews. I've been in contact with George McGlarris from Stratford regarding ice, with the pluses and minuses. The superintendent and I are gonna do a couple of field trips as it gets closer, and, so there's some good and some things that we really wanna find out. Well, obviously, we'll bring them back to you two, going forward, so. And the only other thing is, you don't realize when you get elected, you think you get elected, you get to meet people. I had a loss of one of my favorite, residents in here, who passed away last night, and, I tried to get in here this morning at 7 o'clock to see him, because I knew he was failing pretty rapidly, but, Brendan McNamara was probably my all-time favorite. Yeah, he really, I'll never forget the stories, I remember when I made him, the high sheriff was Mike Euro and, Major Melanson, and I asked him, he always wanted to be a cop. And his dream was for us to get him someday in the cop car, but obviously he was in a wheelchair, it was pretty hard, and Mike Euro said, Tom, I'll do anything for you, but I can't put that guy in a cruiser. So the next thing I thought of was, why don't we deputize him? So we brought him into my office, and we had a little ceremony, we deputized him, made him an undercover deputy in the nursing home. I can tell you that he had a flip phone back then, and I was, on speed dial. I knew before Stanley elevator that the elevator didn't work. I knew before Brentwood Fire that the alarm was going off. And I'll never forget, one day he called me, and there's 2 stories. One day he called me and said, Tom, I gotta call 911. I said, what's the matter, Brendan? What's the matter? He said, I think I smell pot. I said, Brendan, you're gonna be de-deputized if you call 911. And then the only other one I know I mentioned to a couple of you, we brought him in here one day, and we had an IDN situation going that wasn't good, and we had the governor in here about bricks and mortar, and it was total chaos, and he was in here. I let him do the Pledge of Allegiance, and all of a sudden he raised his hand. He said, can I say something? I said, what? And he says, I've never been in a room with so many crooks in my life. So I loved him, and I know Chantel and them took care of him, but he was my favorite. So thank you for letting me hear that.
I think that there's no doubt that you brought a light to his life too, Tom. And it's always sad there's never good to lose someone you care about. But I think one thing is that knowledge that you're able to that you've made a difference in that person's life is a little solace to rest on, in the face of their passing. So for that, Tom, it was really a wonderful thing.
Thank you. So I have.
Are you done? I'm sure, you can still have the stage.
I waited 2 years to talk to you guys.
Lots of commissioner updates.
I'm done.
Okay, so I just want to share one item. And this is praise to Kathy Stacy's property fraud alert. That's on the website, that everybody in the county who owns property absolutely should go to this website and sign up for property fraud. We changed yesterday, my wife and I put our property into a trust. And it was recorded at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But a little after midnight, I got an alert that there was a change of ownership. There was a change on the deed. And, you know, that would be in time better than any of the other things that you'd pay for. To know that there was something that was going on, or it just confirmed for me.
Yeah.
It was just a confirmation. It's a great program. It worked well. This was my only time to test it. We don't switch properties that often that you have that need, but it came over. It worked fantastically.
That's a wonderful public service announcement, and I'll stick on that train, in which I got another call from the sheriff's department. They're saying that there was a warrant for my arrest. That is, and so for anyone watching, I was like, really? Again, so now I've received this call twice. So if, you know, these are frauds, if there's someone suggesting that you need to come down with bail money right away, and you have some concerns about it, call over to the sheriff's department first, hang up with these people, don't give them any information, and call over if you have some concerns. But there's so many of these fraud alerts this fraud of, you know, there's a warrant for your arrest or something, so. And the other announcement is just that we have the executive committee meeting on, January 31st, so I think everybody's tuned in, but anyone in Zoom land or watching this on YouTube, if you wanna see more of your government at work, come on the 31st. Next we have the Seabrook Cemetery lot quitclaim deed.
All right, so I'll move to approve the transfer of cemetery lot 34, section E in the Hillside Cemetery to the town of Seabrook, New Hampshire, for no consideration, and refer the matter to the delegation for approval pursuant to 28:8-C.
Second,
Is there any discussion about this?
I think we all know this is just courtesy. There's not enough money involved here for us to be worried about it, and it belongs to Seabrook. Seabrook needs to administer it, and that's the way it should be.
And I'm comfortable to vote on it. I follow it through Zoom and through radio, so I support it.
Essentially, this is pro forma to comply with the statute, but our intent, because I think we are required to send it over to the delegation for approval, but from our perspective, this is again, the cemetery plot is worth, like, I think the assessed value was like
600.
maybe even less. I think it
Maybe
was like
even less.
400, but a very nominal sum. The idea is to give it back to the town so that they can administer it in connection with their cemetery.
Right, and they'll sell it.
If they wanna save money, it's only $250 in Sandown. The only thing is, we have a cemetery guy that doesn't wanna sell them. I'm like, it's your buy some plots, you never know. You know, that's the investment that you don't want.
Okay, I'm calling the motion.
Just the cemetery plots now?
On the motion.
On the motion, I vote yes.
Yeah.
And I vote yes.
Long time.
Okay, facilities operations, we have a bid waiver request.
I'll make a motion to approve the R&R bet proposal and sole source vendor bid waiver request in the amount of $16,800 for the replacement of components damaged during PLC failure of the electrostatic precipitator, and authorize the chair to sign all necessary documents as recommended by the senior director of facilities planning and IT.
Second,
Discussion on this?
no.
I just think that anytime you can use electrostatic precipitator in any day of your life, that is a wonderful thing. But, I mean, just saying, I do have one question, Jude. Are we gonna be okay on the fuel lines where we're transferring the?
It looks like we're gonna be okay, yes.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah,
We
it's,
did well when we went out to RFP, so,
oh, good.
I mean, we're having a cold snap now, but I think we're gonna be okay.
Okay, great. Any other discussion? Okay. On the motion, Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
Commissioner Godu.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Line item transfer, this is the connection of,
Make a motion to approve a line item transfer requesting amount of $16,800 dated January 10th, 2025. Transferring from Rockin' RCRNC fuel and GeoFuel to boiler plant purchase services as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT.
Second.
on the motion, Commissioner Godu.
Yes.
Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Bid waiver request for Honeywell Building Technologies.
Make a motion to approve the Honeywell Building Technologies annual service contract and sole source vendor bid waiver in the amount of $56,874.45 for the servicing of building automation and fire alarm components throughout the complex as recommended by the Senior Director of Planning and IT, Facility Planning and IT.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Just quick question. Obviously, we've used Honeywell sole source, we're using them, so it makes sense, but, how are we in terms of the budget amount or,
This is about a 3% increase over the previous year, so we'll feel it for just the second half of this fiscal year,
okay,
so we should be okay.
Okay.
We're in trouble in purchase services everywhere, but
prices are just going up?
yeah,
Yeah.
brutal.
Or that, I mean, I guess that where that really, in trouble, it means like we're gonna see budget increases for
Yes.
next year. So,
And probably additional transfers by the end of the year, I would say.
okay. Anybody else? Okay,
No, it's all good.
okay. Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
Commissioner Godu.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you.
Change order request for Novus Group.
I'll make a motion to approve a change order request for Novus Group for an amount not to exceed $3,700 as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities, Planning and IT.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
Commissioner Tombrello, and I vote yes. Motion 2,
Motion to approve the, reallocation of $3,213.58 remaining in the three capital projects from 2017, 2019, and 2020 for, water system improvement and $486.42 from the capital project of paving and stone drainage.
Second.
any discussion?
Nope.
Okay, Commissioner Tombrello,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion 3,
A motion to approve the New Hampshire Department of Transportation municipal sidewalk agreement for maintenance of the proposed sidewalks and authorize the chair to sign all necessary documents as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT.
Second.
any discussion?
I have a question. It seems like we have an agreement that we are going to take care of, maintain the sidewalks.
Yeah.
And, what if we said no?
If we said no, they would probably not go forward with our permits to put a driveway in for all of the work. It's a condition of the permit.
Okay, all right, that, in a contract, there's always,
Right.
two sides of consideration, and I was trying to figure out what our consideration was on that particular contract. I mean, it's a quarter of a mile or something of,
And North Road is a state road, and I did question that, and they said it's customary to require the municipality, meaning Rockingham, to be responsible for the sidewalk along a state road.
so do we have to do anything more than, plow it, or if it gets damaged, is it up to us to repair?
Shoveled and salted so nobody falls. Essentially, it's a safety issue more than anything else.
Yeah, are you?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that's fine.
my concern was, are we okay on, like, the maintenance side, side of it is going to be, a little,
We do all the sidewalks. You
Yeah.
know, we have a little snow blower. I
Okay.
mean, I think we may have some grounds issues with the new building anyway, but, it's not that much additional. As the commissioner pointed out, it's a fairly short
Yeah.
distance, so we'll be okay.
this is future us promise.
Yes,
Right now, we just need a truck, right?
right.
Okay, Anybody else?
Nope.
Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Tombrello,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu,
Yes,
and I vote yes.
Thank you.
Finance Office, we have Harvey Construction Accounts Payable Warrant.
motion to approve the January 16th, 2025 accounts payable warrant T 250743 payable to Harvey Construction Corporation, in the amount of $3,690,341.15 as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT and the Senior Director of Finance.
second.
Discussion?
Well, I'll start it off as usual. Typically, they're missing a whole lot of receipts that we have contracted with Harvey to get these receipts for every expense. These are reimbursed receipts. There's thousands of dollars in here that we don't have receipts for, and I object to this business practice. So I can't support this warrant.
Do you have anything, Commissioner? Okay.
I'll just say that I looked at it, I know it's pretty lengthy, the whole warrant, so I haven't been able to, really break it down like Commissioner Godu was saying, but, I'll look more into it, but I'm okay to support it.
I reviewed it. I mean, this is consistent with what we've been provided. It's consistent with the accountability. We're doing well with budget and time, and so.
And I'll just say this, I've watched it and I know from the meeting, I know Steve has asked questions about some of the different ones. My take on the whole thing is that we've given people money to perform a project that's gonna be finished. And I think we have pretty good group with, I attended the meeting the other day with Chuck and you and the whole group. I'm pretty confident that we're on track to get the product, get the money, but I do see Steve's, Commissioner Godu's, track on wanting to see a little bit more. Maybe now that I'm involved, I can ask them and see, maybe I'll, push them to get a couple that you're looking for.
Well, I would appreciate that, because I just think that we're missing the boat here on the business practice. Well, I'm not sure what FERID, FERID, ALIC, do you have any idea what that is?
He's a Harvey employee, but he works in different sections.
Oh, that's a
so-
person.
Yeah, so you'll see him
Okay.
across different sections, because he does like a multitude of different tasks that get categorized into different cost item sections.
Okay, I was always kind of confused about that one. So I thought I didn't realize it was a proper name. Well, they're just, I'm like, why don't we have a copy of their Eversource bill? They got two bills, there's $1,000 for one, $2,000 for the other. They spent $474 at Lowe's. They've got rental agreements with, for the dumpsters. I'm not questioning that these are legitimate expenses, because I think that they are. If I didn't think they were, I'd be making a much bigger stink. I just think that we're supposed to get the receipts, and I don't have the receipts. That's why I can't approve it. Everybody's heard this before. I don't need to say it any longer.
Do you have anything? Okay. On the motion, Commissioner Godu,
No.
Commissioner Tombrello, and I vote yes. Okay. We are moving on to the Rockingham County Courthouse lease agreement.
Motion to approve the renewal of the courthouse lease with the state of New Hampshire Department of Administrative Services Bureau of the Court Facilities at a monthly cost of $16,194.09 for a period of 8 months beginning May 1st of 2025, with the option to terminate within 30 days prior to the written notice.
Second.
Discussion? Chuck, you wanna go?
So I had some good discussions with Sarah Lineberry at the state. We finally connected after playing phone tag. So basically, there's no change to the monthly rent amount.
Yeah.
It was the long range planning folks at the state level that didn't want to just do a short-term lease agreement through only August. And so, yes, this goes through December, but as was stated in the motion, there's a 30-day you know, cancellation windows. So for example, if August really looks like the move-in month, we could cancel as late as August first and still wouldn't have to worry about rent for September onward.
These are all.
And, you know, we may want to incur the cost for, you know, because even if we're moving in, there might be some transition time to get out of there. So I feel like very comfortable with the December date. You know, that's like a drop dead date, but in the interim, we can always do things like, you know, if it looks like maybe we'll be out in November, whatever, save the month's rent. I noticed that even in the price increase, it was like for the first 2 years, it was $10.66 per square foot. And then last year was $10.77, and they've maintained that. So they haven't gone up super substantially in the grand scheme of things. And so,
And when we're talking on that topic, you know, I did try Tuesday to call Pat Conley a couple of times, and I got a voicemail over there. So I don't know, where do we stand with her with the site that she's been on down the road? Is anybody gonna, because
They haven't determined exactly. She's supposed to come to us with a proposal of what space she needs, and I don't think anything's been negotiated. And I don't think, we haven't really fully discussed what we all agree that she needs. She seems to need something there, or she's requesting it, but we don't have specifics yet.
yeah,
and that's
and if
our-
the budget can.
Or
support it.
what the
I
budget
mean, I
like.
think that's like, we know we're gonna have new costs with the building. I just, you know, the question is, can we support, you know, extraneous costs that are, we have to look at all of this, all the needs.
There's just a couple of things I noticed in motion, but there's a couple of things that happen. I mean, obviously, I do not want to be paying the state of New Hampshire a big amount of money to have space over there. I want to pay the minimum and ourselves for this new building, because before the ARPA money came forward, and we got the $60 million, we were only looking to put a small building up to house county attorney and the register of deeds, and then with the ARPA money, the building grew, it had a baby. The last thing I wanna do is be able to give them a lot of money. The itself of that building was for us to get out of there with the delegation to get us over here, so I'm hoping going forward. And there's another quick thing, I know we got a motion, but a quick thing about the cars, you know, it's 5 miles to the courthouse and 5 miles back. I think we should talk to the sheriff. You know, we usually put those cars out to bid or something like that, keep a couple of those cars,
Yeah.
because the tracking of mileage with employees is a nightmare. It's a nightmare, and if they're going back and forth, and we're gonna have to give this one mileage for that, it's gonna be a nightmare for Chuck and for the sheriff, and I mean, for Pat Conley.
Yeah.
So I would like to see a couple of cars maybe stay in the facility. We only get like $3,500 for those cars, take the lettering off of them, and let those 2 cars be assigned
Exactly.
out back, and I know the superintendent, you used a couple of
We
them
did.
too, so.
We kept
Just going forward, I just don't wanna pay a lot of rent, and I think we should utilize a couple of the vehicles before we put them out on the sealed bid.
And we did this last year, to your point. We kept one last year for this. And Jude's team kindly looked at the cars, did a quick mechanical overview and found one that worked. And I think,
I think it's a good thought to think of.
The other thing I wanted to say, just, it's a little bit of tangential but related, is it would be nice, we talked to about Pat providing us with the data on the case numbers relative, because by now we should have a whole year of the changes from felonies first to see what reduction in case numbers are like. So as we go into budget season, we're starting to talk about this. We should be looking at getting that data. I think it would be valuable to see what's happening with felonies.
Thanks.
Okay.
Well, that's if they have another judge coming in, maybe nice to see what's next year if the caseloads drop.
Yeah.
Because if they're able to get, I know it's a backlog, but now that they're gonna have this focus on, it might change.
Right. Okay, we've digressed, but we'll go back on this is the courthouse lease agreement motion. So on the motion, Commissioner Tombrello.
Yes.
Commissioner Godu.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you, Chuck, for negotiating that.
Then I was happy when it came back, no increase.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have now we're moving on to human resources and exception request, life event benefits change deadline.
Make a motion to approve and accept request, personnel policy, life event benefits change deadline for A Department of Corrections employee J.C. is recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources.
Any discussion?
No, I read the details, perfectly reasonable,
And it only benefits the county.
right,
On the motion, Commissioner Godu,
yes.
Commissioner Tombrello, and I vote yes. Okay, moving on to, we did, B, a general leave request for long-term care services. Page, top of page 3.
Long-term care, or is that the one from environmental?
Yeah, yes, it's environmental services, but under one.
Make a motion to approve a general leave request from Environmental Services employee E.G. with the county portion of all benefits continued for the period January 19, 2025 through January 26, 2025, as recommended by the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services and the Senior Director of Human Resources.
Second.
Any discussion? Allison, is there any additional information you can provide on this?
They have a follow-up with their doctor next week, and there's an anticipation they'll be returning to work.
Okay.
So that's what I've been receiving.
Anybody else? Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Tombrello,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Medical Director Agreement.
Make a motion to approve the medical director agreement with Dr. Robert A.B. Timmons for the telephone and consultation services with Rockingham County's occupational health nurse practitioner for the period of January 19, 2025 through June of 30th of 2026. Compensation shall be at a rate of $335 per hour through June 30th, 2025, and $345 per hour from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th of 2026. Further to authorize the chair to sign the agreement on behalf of the county.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll just,
Well,
go ahead.
first of all, I mean, the rate seems kind of normal. Do we, how do we keep track of the hours and, you know, how,
They submit invoice to us, just like Martha, when she divides out the time between the departments, there'll be an invoice. I'll know when she's reaching out to him, because she'll do, letting you know. It's mostly related to pre-employment and any stumbling blocks on that, that maybe issues that she wants to run by and clear just for legal purposes.
and is this in line with what we paid previously to,
Yes, it's for
Pat Doctor?
COEH, yeah, it's, COEH contract, we kind of mirrored it.
okay,
And he accepted all the prime exchanges for. So
oh, right, yes,
that
I
was
saw that.
the other end. Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Tombrello,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I vote yes. A discussion about union negotiations session schedules. Allison?
Yes, I just wanted to get a sense from the board. Typically, we have done union negotiations on a board of commissioner day, Thursday. We have 3 with Teamsters with Bill Cahill and 1 with the SAIU, which is long-term care. But I wanted to understand from those that will be doing the negotiations, what days I need to stay away with. Certainly, you can't get through all of the negotiations on a Thursday because we have 4 that we're going to be entering into. But I just wanted to understand, are there any certain days or times that you would prefer me to stay away from when I get into discussions with the union reps?
For me, Wednesday mornings and Monday mornings are, in fact, Monday all day. But Wednesday morning is always tied up. I could meet on Wednesday afternoon, and most Thursdays and potentially Tuesday and Friday are okay. So just those 2 restrictions for me, no Monday and no Wednesday morning.
Thursdays after I'm not retired, but I'm available.
Anytime.
Thursdays after the meeting works the best for me. If we could do like Thursday and just stay here for the day. I did reach out to Bill Cahill just to let him know that I'd be trying to work with him a little bit.
And I mean, again, I'm always good Thursday after the meetings, but I think additionally for me, the afternoons. Because
Okay.
I have a heavy court docket in the morning, and so the afternoons are preferable, or anytime on Friday. Yeah. Is it,
We'll work around it. I'm sure they're gonna wanna meet on Thursdays. It'll be easier for Bill Cahill.
Yeah.
If he's doing multiple, we can go from one. We've done that before, have one session with one group and then we go into the other session with the other. So it'd be opposite people.
Yeah.
So that would be great.
oh, yeah,
Not
that's
necessarily you have to have them on the same day, so if it's consistent on Thursdays, do one group, next week another group.
correct,
I
correct.
think the long-term care might be a little bit different, as you know.
Yeah.
A little bit with that one.
We recess for a minute.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Take a brief recess.
I appreciate that.
You get it done in 3 sessions.
Yeah. We took a brief recess. We're back in session. And now we're gonna move to long-term care services, the bid waiver request for Point Click Care, mealtime solution.
Make a motion to approve the Point Click Care person, proposal and bid waiver request in the amount of $6,816 annually and a one-time fee of $2,730 for nutrition management software as recommended by the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services.
Second.
Any discussion?
If I could just explain
Yeah.
a little bit and elaborate. So, there's the current system we have that is backed by PCC is being sunset. They can't give us an exact date and we would only get about a 30 to 60 day notice. The amount of work that goes into getting it up and running, it links to PCC. We do something called the IFI diet, which is very complex in it. Not all systems even have that capability, but it is months of legwork to assure that the diets and all the information is in accurately, correctly, and we have to build out the menus in it. So a 30 to 60 day window, even with a bid waiver, we would not be able to turn around without having the potential liabilities of incorrect diets or
Allergies.
you know, just all of those pieces, not even including having to figure out the overtime and hours to get it accomplished. So we were hoping with this, we'll be able to proactively do it. It links with PCC, so a lot of the information will go over, and then in next year kind of goal is our assisted living doesn't currently use anything, so it's just being written down. This would allow us to streamline, support some of the labor, but also pull data of what meals. And alert for allergies. And this program is very similar to what we have and actually a little more user friendly and will meet all of those needs with a cost saving.
Yeah, I know. It's like that last important part. We're
Yeah.
gonna save money. It's gonna be more efficient and more effective with our current system. And I think right now, assisted living, it's such a manual process to enter it's like literally on pieces of paper writing
It's scrap
down.
paper. So the current process is it's literally a scrap paper that they're going individually and writing it down and bringing it to the cook who's then serving it. Then the assisted living staff is having to supplement because it's so laborsome, which would essentially allow them to kind of do things maybe a little differently. In addition to that, if someone has an allergy, there's no way to alert that. And then when they're planning food in the kitchen, there's significantly more waste on the assisted living side because they have to make enough to kind of cover, and there's no way to track that, you know, no one really ordered this and we need more of this. So there's also a lot of running back and forth to the kitchen. So that piece isn't here yet, but it's included in, it's the system
Where we
can
can
do
move
it,
to.
but we would have to work with facilities and, Robin to be able to essentially be them taking the orders on an iPad. It would put alerts for allergies, so we wouldn't even be able to select something that someone's allergic to. And then it would go kind of, I always think of like McDonald's, but there's a technical name for it, where it would go to a screen where they are and they could see the orders. So instead of even running back and forth, they would be able to take an entire table. So it would help with kind of the labor distribution. It would help with the overall ordering. It would definitely help from a liability standpoint from an allergy, because if we gave someone food with the allergy, and from a tracking, and hopefully be able to standardize a PAR a little more so that we have less waste in the food.
Saving money to save money. That's all.
Sounds good.
Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Tombrello,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you very much.
Health Trust Workforce Solutions Agreement.
I'll make a motion to authorize the admissions director to sign the Health Trust Workforce Solutions agreement with HSA hospitals without consideration of the risk recommendations.
Second.
Any discussion?
Why without consideration of the risk recommendations?
Primex made some suggestions and somehow, for some reason, we don't think that we need to worry about that. And that concerns me.
So if I may, the conversation around it, so one of the big pushes that I've kind of talked about is, pre-COVID, we were going to the hospitals, being able to meet with kind of a bedside sales standpoint, but also screen patients, because what's reflected in the documentation isn't always an accurate portrayal from that standpoint. This contract is for, 3 of the hospitals, CMC, Frisbee, Parkland, and Portsmouth, which would allow our admissions director to be able to go in. Because it is part of their structure, they are not agreeable to make any changes in that. So the conversation around it is, yes, those pieces aren't in there. However, our staff member is not doing anything hands-on, isn't doing any care. It's essentially going and doing a bedside visit to be able to screen, kind of eyeball on some of the documentation medically, as well as the patient, and kind of quick little things. There's no care, it would essentially be a visitor of the hospital. In that sense, it would just allow her the access in the medical records. It is not in any way, from a physical, that risk is significantly lower. However, that company won't make any of those changes.
So does Primex understand that?
My understanding is that is something they put in everything, and it's not like a negotiable, like they don't, if it's not in there, it comes, same blanket statement, either way, it's in there.
And Primex does risk, so they're looking at their own risk and giving advice on risk.
Right.
You know, but historically, this contract's been signed annually without this risk provision, as I understand it. Yeah, and it's been fine.
It was prior, the nursing home, we haven't done in-person screening since before COVID, because during COVID, we weren't allowed in. And everyone else, including our kind of competitors, are. We just haven't done that. It's one of the things I've been pushing to be able to do, because the paperwork isn't always an accurate reflection in that sense. But the other side of it is, if it comes down to 2 people, especially as the push to go home and avoid nursing homes is higher, to be able to sell bedside and form that relationship helps in kind of closing the deal from a sales perspective, full well knowing, as I said that statement out loud, we are talking about people. So.
So we've had the same agreement for a long time.
Yes.
And have we ever had a claim? Have we ever had anyone that said
Not to my
any
knowledge.
liability? Anybody recall?
I think the hard part is just that when you see something that says without consideration of risk recommendations,
Well,
I mean, that just, it doesn't sound, the language makes you wonder why it says that, but
On
it
the-
explained it well, so.
On the surface, it raises a red flag, even though there's really not a lot of it.
I'm sure their risk is saying their side of it, our risk is our side of it. And it's not somewhere that she goes even daily. It's gonna depend on the referral. And of that list, we get occasional from the other, it'd primarily be Portsmouth. Exeter's our biggest feed. So it's not even like she's probably gonna even be in some of these places weekly, but sometimes when you get documentation and it's uncertain if it's within the clinical capabilities for us to be able to go see the patient, for sure we can truly care for them to reduce the liability when they come in on the other side, is a strong component to have.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Godu,
yes.
Commissioner Tombrello, and I vote yes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to department head updates. Allison, take it away.
I'm just gonna be brief. It's just busy. I'm just getting ready for union negotiations. The staff is just doing their typical stuff. We have had, I'm just letting everybody know, there is an uptick on leave requests. So just some of the departments are probably aware of that, but different things are happening. Harlow, which is our one of our vendors, will be here at the Water Tower Cafe from 11 to 1 outside. It's where people who might be having some medical stuff done can work with them to navigate a lower cost, place to go for an X-ray, MRI, like I talked about, and then they'll be reimbursed a certain percentage of what that would be. It's a great program. A lot of our employees do use that, but it's just a reminder to those that don't, because it's a no cost to them. It's just a phone call and they do all the work on the back end and get back to them. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
I was just saying, that you give the most updated update.
Thank you.
I read that, I'm like, I felt like I was working over there.
No, don't be sorry, that's a, thank you.
Being
You're
your lead
welcome.
way back, and it was pretty, everything's good, yeah, you really come a long way, that's great.
I can't talk so.
Yeah.
Think of it
No,
today.
good.
All right, Superintendent Henry.
Yeah, like they say, I'm nothing, but I got, so thank you for that, Air Pups come in today, that was great, I'm glad you're. Allow them in, they're a really good organization, and, we're very happy to be partnering with them. Today we have 139 houses, under 140, may have changed this point, couple things here,
That's close.
Prime Care, I probably come back to at some point of this next budget cycle for another year-long extension. Because we're not gonna be looking to go into the building to the following year. Because we need to figure out what we actually need for medical and all those kinds of things, staffing numbers, and then we probably at that point come back with an RFP. To actually go out, because things are gonna change. So we did one extension already. It's about where we know where we're at, so we're probably gonna do one more extension and not go out to RFP, because I just don't know yet. We need the opportunity to do that. Dan, we met with some more, with Chantel and stuff, with some more vendors. It went very well for the meals. Glendale brought over a dietitian to the jail the other day, because again, we've had some bumps in the road with special meals and other things. So they're using a dietitian to give us some specific hours. Of course, it's at our cost to do this. So when the next vendors, we're looking for them to be able to take this on. Like, hopefully, but we're gonna be paying for somebody to come in so we can fix the meal.
Would you explain that a little bit more detailed? I'm not sure I get it.
So you have a dietitian, right, that does your meals, those kinds of things. Well, we have special diets, all kinds, soft diets, this diets, allergies. There's a lot of different restrictions.
Like we do in the nursing home too.
Nursing home, and
They're all
then
the same, right?
even on top of it, some more maybe bizarre ones when it comes to the
Some of the religious meals are.
religious
Really?
meals and those, and so you deal with religious and special diets. So it's a
It's
niche.
complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there has been some bumps in the road of not being able to fully accomplish what we need, so.
Okay, when you say bumps in the road, are they just not fulfilling the contract? Are they just not, or are they given inappropriate meals or?
Well, you cannot fulfill the contract when there's nothing in the contract.
Okay, that's fine. I understand that.
So
But they're still not giving the appropriate meals that we need.
there's been a lot of dialogue back and forth. And I don't think the dietitian they have he doesn't have enough hours or time or the expertise in this area. So come down with a dietitian that has some more experience in this area, meeting up front for a few extra times, and then hopefully maybe once a quarter or something to make sure that these diets are being taken care of correctly. And so it's gonna be a cost to us on our side. Again, number one lawsuits is for meals, so we're trying to combat that with actually having some specific hours dedicated towards the correction side.
Will this new software assist in that difficulty?
So the new software isn't actually utilized for corrections. It's utilized around the nursing home and those components. There's a lot of regulations around nursing home requirements for weight loss trigger certain things, and the dietitians that are currently utilized are very strong on the nursing home side, but they are a nursing home dietitian. They are not as fluent in corrections from my understanding, but that is a process for our residents, our meal tickets, our menus. There's some components that they utilize around the menu planning and recipes for corrections, but the majority of the system is really for a nursing home capacity compared to the.
And can we convert it to?
It's
corrections?
it's totally separate, two
Yeah.
separate animals.
Okay.
When we have dietary stuff, we actually tell them what it is. We actually have them vetted out with our nursing staff, and if it's religious or a religious person too. it's having somebody that understands those pressures and the litigiousness of inmates in general and vetting that out. And it's even more with the calorie counts and pushing back at some of these grievances that you're not gonna get from the residents, that we get grievance all the time, you're not feeding me enough calories, you're not doing
We
this,
get
not doing
those.
that. I'd like to sue them. So that's what we're doing to combat this right now.
Okay,
And to answer your question more specifically, I think the issue, like in terms of why would it overlap, it's not like at the House of Corrections, they get discretion in what the meal is. Like there's no choice or no option. There are just a few specific individuals who need religious meals for maybe or have some significant dietary constraints, but mostly it's
And it seems
get
to
what you
talk
get
about
and you don't get upset.
and we're not just that taxation with those specialty meals, but in meals in general too. Because there is a difference of feeding the inmates and compared to at the nursing home. So having somebody understands that and overlooking that, saying that, you know, you really need two separate meals, they can't eat the same thing, that kind of stuff. So separating out a little bit.
okay, understood. Sorry for the interruption, but I just wanted to get my hands up, my
Well, also,
brain around what this difficulty is, because we're gonna be negotiating a new contract
yeah,
Everyone,
with somebody.
when we've sat, pretty much everybody's come around the table, we've talked about that, and then this new contract and RFP is specific about specialty meals and specific about religious meals and specific about them having, whatever entity, have a dietitian to do these kinds of things.
And we don't have that in our current contract, so it's.
You have a dietitian, yeah, it's,
you're right.
yeah,
Can I piggyback on?
yes.
So I think one of the things that Jason and I have spent a lot of time kind of having the conversations around is the current contract. It's very hard to hold accountable or even know because there isn't any of that, you know, that verbiage in the contract of they're responsible for this, you're responsible for this.
It's very
this is the
generalized. I
expectation.
took a look at it.
When we built out the RFP, I will say my side is a little more standardized, so, but yours is wonderfully detailed in that I've learned a lot about that side. But with that, Jason and I pulled, it's impressive, but we pulled the old RFP and built on that, asked questions and had it, and even in the RFP that created that contract, it wasn't, there was nothing on corrections, truthfully, so even the contract that we're currently operating on, the prior RFP, though not detailed to the same extent as this one, truly corrections was just a blip of you have them too. So it didn't have the same piece. So whether we were looking at from an accountability standpoint, from a contract, from an agreement, or from an RFP, there truly wasn't the backing built into it to support corrections and the need of corrections and what has come. With the current RFP process, we have the meetings to end this week. We've had 7 companies that have come through because we didn't do it all in one and we've done it kind of more sparsed out throughout the process. Elaine has been phenomenal as always. And we have logged questions from every vendor and all of those pieces. And that has been getting sent over and updated so that everyone was getting the same information. And we are still getting pages of questions as people are building it out because it was so detailed. And then during the conversations we were having, we were assuring that we were touching on some of those pieces and truly building out the expectations and what that looks like. So we, as a group, from my perspective and opinion, have spent a lot of time being very clear around our expectations for both sides of the house in a more, I'm gonna say fair manner, because corrections was truly a blip before, and what that would look like. But there wasn't that prior, so it does make it difficult for a lot of the conversations around the current expectations have been just that, conversations, and the people involved in those conversations aren't here.
And I think one thing you guys have done marvelously and will set us up well is like we do have troubles with having a meeting of the minds on expectations and delivery and then accountability as a result that with this new, because of the way the RFP was drafted and because of the way we're looking at it prospectively, that we're gonna have much better accountability going forward and set the county up better to for the service to both the residents and the individuals we have incarcerated, which then reduces our exposure from liability.
I think that we brought, I think Chantal's been very good about it, is is really been pushing of billing. The billing is now is very generic. It's hard to parcel out different things of what's actually in your bill, what you actually, especially on the nursing home side. It's not separated, it's not categorized, I've learned a lot too, like you said, and that alone, it will be huge, because then you can actually you can budget better.
Yeah, so I think, I'm so sorry to keep interrupting you. So one of the things that I looked at, and I do monthly, so from January, so I didn't do it fiscal year, but January to current, every month, there's a breakdown that AP puts together. I don't track corrections food, so I apologize on that, but it's the breakdown. So we get billed across currently, and this is even adapted through the last calendar year a little bit. We get billed in 4 different buckets: corrections for food, Water Tower Cafe, and the Micromart are in one. Assisted living now has some parsed out throughout the year, and then the nursing home. Because the labor component around the cooking for our 2 is done simultaneously, the labor is on mine. At the end of the day, our kind of thought was it came out of the same thing, so it wasn't worth the minutia of figuring that out. But the line items, for example, with the nursing home is just food. So what we paid in food is just food. My concern with that and problem with that, aside from my slight control issues in the past I came from, is there's no way to see what's accurate, but there's no way to track and trend. So being able to see the breakdown of this is what we paid for food on the line. This is what we paid for stock in my kitchenettes. This is what we paid for my supplements. This is what, and having that breakdown, if month over month, my supplement budget is increasing drastically, then it can cause me to stop, pause, and look and say, do we have more residents getting supplements? Is my team not sending the alerts to get people off of supplements? And are we wasting them? Is staff eating everything in the kitchenette and not the residents? So we need to evaluate that. Is the cost of a certain snack exponentially gone up, and we need to evaluate a similar choice? In the current billing, we don't have the ability to do that because it's just one line. Same thing said for Water Tower. There's the food and the Micromart. That cost is one. There's no way for me to break down, this is what it's costing for the Micromart. In fairness to the current vendor, I have not asked for that breakdown because we were going into this and I just hadn't had the bandwidth yet.
Thank you. All right, well, you can keep going, Shannon. Take it away. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. By all means, Jason.
The iceberg's more into the water.
Oh, great.
So, talked about, our numbers in jail being lower because of a lot of different programs and those kinds of things. Felonies first, now that's gone away. We've seen a huge uptick. We've seen some come back because of that, but also a lot of backlogs, so I really don't know. I'm sure you saw the governor's speech, and she said she wants to go back and look at bail reform, making it back the way it was. If it goes back there, that could increase the numbers coming in, so I don't know. We'll be keeping an eye on that, just FYI.
There's the new legislation to get rid of, magistrates.
Yes, there's that bill too. And another bill, which I'll bring up here, is for, again, was brought last year, again this year, for to law enforcement to pick up inmates, immigration holds basically. And last year, a lot of people testified against that, because it's a federal thing. They're trying to put it into law in New Hampshire, that police would have no choice to arrest them and hold them, and then that means they come to us. We testified against it last time because once they come to us, that means it's increased medical bills, that is increased looking at immigration and their policies, they do 2-person transport. It's a lot of money that can be pushed down on the county level. This is a federal problem. And now it's being pushed way down to us. We could paying significant amount of money on the counties for bringing these people in. As you know, one person could cost you $100,000 for medical. We would own. So again, we will be testifying again, probably in opposition to this same, or I should say opposition. We'll be enlightening them to what the impact would be on the counties. ACLU they'll be obviously testifying against it, but we'll be, again, like last time we went down, letting know all these issues you're gonna have and where your taxpayer dollars are gonna go. When the bill goes in, we gotta do what we gotta do, but hopefully not.
Incredible downshift of cost.
To your local PDs, we're gonna have to pick them up, hold them, bring them in. If you can't talk to them back and forth, they are gonna need interpreters services at the PD to do this. I'm gonna need more interpreter services. I'm gonna need, it's,
And that's gonna
It's interesting.
significantly gonna increase the population at the,
it's quite possible. It's quite possible. So it's just something we're very concerned about and we are, because I'm still, on the legislative committee and we're on top of it, but so you know. Yeah, and I'll say that February 24th is a legislative conference up at the Pony Center. It's on, if you go to the Association of Counties website, it's right on there. You can sign up for it, $25 a person. I recommend people going. You have a lot of state reps, federal reps, and a lot of panels on different discussion topics that are gonna affect counties. So
You're the guest speaker too.
I'm just the
Saw
MC.
the agenda.
You saw the, I was the agenda. I'm just the MC.
they're kind of a big deal.
No. Really that, more vendors, we talk about ICE, yeah, we're still working with them, they're coming for a tour between February 11th and 13th. Happy to announce that I'm working with, Chuck and Molly, along with Kevin Warwick, there's some couple of significant grants that are out. That, one of them I've actually applied for twice, and Carol got it twice. And so, it could potentially, 2 to 3 positions be funded, which would burn about 3 years out of whack over at hopefully the new building stuff as we need more for programs. And been very successful with that in the past, so I'm hoping that this will go through as well too. So there's some work going on right now as we're still in discussion stages, but we're partnering with my consultant, Kevin Warwick, to help his team over there. And then after they're done, they'll get a template, basically for the future of how to do all this. Some stuff was already given to them, but it's going well. But it's not, sure Chuck will tell me. And Central Square, for our new jail management system is moving along. There's a meeting that actually started at, 8 o'clock or 8:30 this morning. It's all day long. With, my lieutenants, some other people that are gonna be involved in this, Central Square people, Robin. And so very happy about that, because that's gonna replace our jail management system, which is basically defunct. So it's the same one the sheriff's department has,
Yeah.
Central Square, which all the towns, like, there was one town that wasn't, but I think at this point, maybe they've complied at this point. So it's gonna be good.
Is your timeline better? Like, I know the use of Central Square with the police departments and the sheriff's department is delayed due to some programming. I don't think you're gonna have, it's like related to J1 and accident reconstruction. I don't think you're gonna have that
We're
problem,
not,
but
so
you're on
there
track.
was involved waiting till theirs came in and about talk around, we don't have to, because everything's a click. Like when we share with them, it's just click what we want shared to them, and the click of what they want shared to us. So nobody has to worry about, it's separated, there are things we're gonna share, so we don't have to wait on them at all.
Nor should you at the rate. they're going for that.
A couple of counties already went live with it. I know Coas just went live. There's 1 or 2 other ones already went live. So it shouldn't be a big deal. We can run it separate from them. They'll be happy once they come on, we'll pull our data.
Yeah.
So it's moving right along. Yeah, and I also will preface that moving forward in the budget for the following year, I'm gonna have to put money in for the maintenance agreement on there. We'll talk about that more budget season. Tomorrow I'm over at Hillsborough County. We're gonna have our certification board meeting and superintendent affiliate meeting. And lastly, I sent you all an email, reference an individual that continues to call, that had issues in the past, and we're monitoring that. If any questions, sure you can ask me to go non-public and talk about it more.
I've seen some crazy emails come across. I ignored them all.
I've spoken to her.
Oh, you did? Lucky you.
Fine.
Yeah, so some of my staff, as you saw. And that is all I have, so let's shut up.
I wish I could say I would be brief, but I have a few things myself. So Chantal Conan, Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services, the nursing home census is at 132, assisted living is at 48. Happy to report, we have no COVID positive staff as of today. Last week, we had, between the different outbreaks, we had 34 call outs on nursing alone in 4 days. So we have complete praise to my team for managing through that, because we have been getting impacted. we are still an outbreak on one of the units for neuro and one for respiratory, so we're continuing to work through that. Some general items, prior to my arrival, there was a contract that had been approved in regards to an ACO that I have mentioned since, which is the Affordable Care Organization. That went live in January. There's been different meetings with my team from an education standpoint, myself and some others on the team have been parts of ACOs, which is helpful. I believe we just took or are taking the first patient. Some of the there's a lot of positive things about it. Some of the positive pieces for it though, because of our star, you have to be at least a 3-star. In this area, there's about 7,400 people that qualify for the ACO or are part of the ACO because of who their PCP is. It allows, instead of having that 3-day hospital stay, there's a code we put in our billing to still be able to bill for Medicare without that stay. But there's only 2 of us in that. So instead of having 15 people trying to get, you know, those Med-A referrals that are fewer and farther between, there's us and one other nursing home that would be able to do that. So we have been working very closely. We did a tour with the individuals from Israel who bought Exeter and their upper leadership, and the amount of comments they said about like, wow, I should have come here when I'm older, and this is the most beautiful nursing home I've ever seen, and just the care and the cleanliness and the staff, truly great to see. So any other questions on that I can expand, but in the interest of time, I will shorten it. Resident Council did vote to accept the piano in those pieces, so I'll be connecting with Chuck and kind of closing that circle. We already talked about dietary, so I won't go back into that. Angie, the chaplain, started this week, so that has been wonderful. She's full of ideas already, so we're excited.
She's excited. I talked to her yesterday.
She's wonderful. Our dentist is leaving us. We just found out she's been here in 25 years. It's a difficult position to try and find, but I already have reached out to a connection and I'm getting a meeting on the books to hope to pre-plan to not have that lag because it would cause additional issues in trying to go out and get coverage from a regulatory standpoint. So I will keep you updated on that. We did roll out, one of the kind of things I tasked the team with was changing our orientation process to assure that they're getting the information and really pushing the team to have, instead of one person kind of carrying it, speak to their specialties, which has gone well, and a huge thank you. Autumn section is a hit, and to facilities, they're actually part of our orientation. So speaking to when, you know, HR, how to handle different situations in a more interactive way, and around the fire drills and those pieces. So excited about that. And 2 more things, I promise. Kendra and I just started working on the HVA, which is the hazardous vulnerability assessment with Jude and her team for our emergency preparedness, doing that annually, and the disaster planning. And I just want to give complete awe and respect to your team, because sitting there when we were talking about the preparedness and I was doing it, she's like, oh, we have something for that. We've planned for that. We have this. And I, not coming from this world, it's very impressive to see the amount of care, consideration that your team has put in so that if any of these disasters did happen, that plan's already in place, those resources are already in place, and it's truly beautiful. And I just complete respect for that. And to end on a positive note, we have about 6 full-time day shift LNA slots full, and we would not have any day LNA positions to fill. We knew that that would fill off of our current. There's still the other shifts, which are harder to recruit for, but
That's incredible.
we have, with Autumn and the team kind of working off of the rough estimate, we're 6 away from having no agency LNAs on first shift.
Wow.
Well, we have an offer going out today for another LNA.
So there we go.
Yes.
And that doesn't even include some of the other shifts.
That was
So-
a late
Wow.
interview last night. She got back after probably around 4:30 and was excited, and the person is gonna accept it once she receives the offer.
So that's a huge accomplishment.
That is
Because back
amazing.
in September, I think we had 12 full-time
Yeah.
LNAs that were ours, and we have exponentially, but to hear that
Shifted.
number is truly amazing. So I
Finally,
wanted
we're
to
seeing that shift
Yeah.
from being, it's just
Even the
incredible.
percentage, which I commented on when we talked last, and I don't recall it off the top of my head, but it's the house to agency staff has shifted favorably
Yes.
on our side in a very drastic way. So to continue with that momentum, and the kind of collaboration between the two departments is huge, and Autumn has been wonderful. So credit to her.
Great job. I mean, this has been the task of the year, and it's like, it's really getting done.
But keep that train moving.
Oh, yeah.
Zero's the right number. That's
We
the
are
magic
all
number.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can tell that's Autumn. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable.
It has.
And
It truly has been wonderful, and even, you know, around the contracts and the buyouts, some of our long-standing agency that we have had on contract for 1, 2, 3 years are approaching us and joining as well.
wow.
So, our orientation groups are now, it used to be just agency, and now sometimes we have more staff, or at least close to equal. So it's really exciting to see, and it's across other departments as well, in housekeeping and some of those departments, we've seen more movement too. So it's really exciting to see.
And I think that reflects also like some of the cultural shifts that are probably happening, this undercurrent. If we see a lot of agency people who've been here for a while wanting to come on board, then, I
They're
mean,
being treated well.
yeah. So
They're seeing
it's,
it limited their ability to stay on limited too, so it might be shifting their desire to come on. Oh, wait a minute. There's not as many opportunities to stay here in a
It's-
contract. I
right.
might wanna hop over.
hop on board. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It
Yeah, I
takes
think we
momentum. That's a
canceled
good,
like 10 contracts in 1 week.
wow. There's a cumulative effect. Allison, that's a great point about the cumulative effect. It's great.
That's it.
That's a,
Just one thing, there is also a bill out there that to form a committee for Seacoast area for emergency response for the nuclear plant. So they're trying to combine with everybody's emergency procedures in case that happens, just let you know, and I can get you that bill as well too. It's one of those, I meant to bring to all of your attention, so I'll get that.
Yeah, we have an annual meeting in education on our side because we're part of our area is in the range. Seabird does it annually, and we already have their kits and pieces here for that.
So there's a bill.
Thank you.
all
That's
right.
it.
Great. Katie, do you want to speak up on anything? I'm going around the room and Zoom lands next.
No, I'm good, thanks. I'll wait for
Okay.
Chuck.
Chuck, take it away.
Well, one thing that Katie is working on is the quarterly budget review. So I think an email just went out as far as departments, so please just look over your accrual numbers as far as whether they're revenues or expenses. Basically, anything that's gone through the January AP run is included in the numbers. Obviously, she and I will be looking through those expense numbers to make sure that anything, especially from auto pays like prime care, that were actually for January are backed out. So that really is about expenses through 12/31. If any departments see any expenses right now in Munis, if you do that, your day budget run through January. And you see expenses that are in there that don't fully show your expenses through service period of 12/31, please let her know. And we'll incorporate those numbers. Basically, all the packets have to be fully done for next Wednesday and mailed out. So our goal is next Tuesday is our printing day. Obviously, we also handle reporting on other funds like internal service funds, several different special revenue funds, the largest being contingent grants fund out of that. And we also do some ad hoc reporting like on overtime. So even though there's no separate budget line item, in a departmental budget for overtime, we still track it for informational purposes. So, just busy with that quarterly reporting. Obviously grants, yes, every month after quarter end is filing month, so happy to say that through those grants, reportings have already been taken care of. There's a few more at the end of the month that are due, namely, actually ARPA. It's not technically due till the middle of February, I'm guessing because of all the obligations have to be fully reported. So they gave like an extra 15 days on that. As Superintendent was mentioning, there's many grant opportunities that are out there, including those DOC ones, so I know that Molly's looking very much forward to working on those. And she's been coordinating, reaching out to the sheriff's office to see with Catherine leaving as far as what are we gonna absorb or take on for grant administration as far as like the justice assistance grants, cops grants, some of these other sheriff's office grants that we're gonna more like take care of the full process from applying for all the way out to administration of it. So that transition is happening. And Catherine and the whole sheriff's office team's been great to work with. Looks like we may not get a charging infrastructure grant. The first round of CFI went out and Rockland County was on the list, but Molly's following up. State was though. I have to see exactly what amount they got, but it was millions of dollars, my understanding. So it might be that the feds were really going after bigger projects. Because again, this CFI grant is about getting charging infrastructure like along the primary corridors as far as interstates and what have you. And that's been the goal of the, full Biden administration too, with getting these awards of grants out before they're done, actually. Just a quick thing on AHAC, Budget Committee, obviously we're very busy on many bills, and now the language is out on those proposed bills. So you'll see some of us having to go to Concord to testify, because if you don't, some things get passed that then cost shifting down to the counties. So we'll be busy, I'm sure, over the next month's committee hearings have already started on some of these bills. The next, I want to say executive committee meeting, but officers meeting and other meetings for AHAC is next Thursday morning. So some of us will be busy going to Concord first in the morning, then coming here for the meeting in the afternoon. So actually it works out well as far as for the board meeting next week being in the afternoon. I know that really the reason for that shift is because of the different public hearings on the CDBG, grant that, the county supported applying for. That one's got a community services grant, so. And I can relay that Matt Cordaro, the CEO of One Sky, was very appreciative that the board did approve the walk-in motion as far as for the county supporting that opportunity for the Kensington project, so he was very appreciative.
That's great.
So, and I did ask him next time, please have something better in writing beforehand. So, and I'm gonna stop there, so just busy.
All right.
I like hearing your voice.
Soothing.
Maybe he can read you a bedtime story.
Tape him.
Tape him, audio recorded. Teddy Rex, bring back Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh,
Jude, your turn.
Good morning, Jude Gates, Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT. I will actually be brief. You saw by my agenda items, we have a lot going on with the contractors, with the biomass plant. We're working hard to keep everybody warm in this weather. It seems to be going very well. Our HVAC technician had been out for several weeks on leave and he's back. We're long list for him, but we're very happy to have him back with this terrible weather. As far as the new water main goes, they did do some test pits this week. You'll see them out in the field. They already put the erosion control measures in place. And DOT is trying to helping us to coordinate. They want that done before we do that and so on and so forth. So we're very busy, all is well.
Great.
That's on the Jude's thing. I thank Jude and Robin, together. We purchased key boxes, to be in our administration area and in medical. We already have one in control rooms where you take everybody's keys and it goes in an electronic key box and use biometrics to open the door, and the biometrics will allow you for certain keys that we authorize. Because I don't want to be carrying keys home. So I changed the last facilities act and been on my bucket list. All that was finally finished about a week or so ago, all up and running. So yesterday, Lieutenant Norton put almost everybody's keys into it. We will continue. And my staff will not be bringing keys home or anything along those lines anymore. They'll be going in the key box. It's great. They forget to put it in there, set an alarm after your many hours here. We'll eventually get there. People will get used to it. But some people are very happy that they've always, you freak out about those keys. It's jail. It's those kinds of things. So, we're very happy, especially with medical, keep track of those keys and their contracted person. So just want to say thank you. We've got that up and running.
We'll be doing ours next now that the jail's done.
It's great. No, that's great. It's like,
It is great.
no,
We don't
no
want
hassle.
people taking home, you know, the keys to the kingdom.
And we've seen this in other avenues where trying to get the keys back or entry after being,
Right.
you know, someone resigns or is, discharged or, you know.
Which is nice to make it.
It's one of the beauties of card access though, because, you know, we'll get a call from HR and we can disable someone's ID that quickly and we don't have to be, you know, as concerned about what else they're taking away. I love the card access for that piece of it. It's really helpful.
The card access is, I mean, you know, it's just been wonderful
Yeah,
for safety and
definitely.
security. Layla, anything for us?
Oh, yes, actually, thank you. So Monday is a holiday. So.
It is?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Agenda submissions for next week's meeting is tomorrow by 2 p.m. And that's all I know.
That was light.
Very brief.
Very brief. Okay, with that, we will, we do have a walk-in request, new business, old business. First, there's a walk-in request for a CDBG grant application writer selection.
Make a motion to select Donna Lane as the CDBG application grant writer for the upcoming acquisition and or rehabilitation project in Kensington, New Hampshire, based on experience and reasonableness of cost, and authorize the chair to sign all necessary documents.
Second.
Is there any discussion about this?
Just quickly, CDBG stuff is very complicated and there's also administration and all the entering things into the CDFA, New Hampshire CDFA's portal on grants. And so Molly hasn't had a chance to have all the education done on it. And again, if we mess up on something on this grant particularly, then, you know, it's not good.
Yeah.
So that's why I still like, as far as for now, CDBG stuff to go through a separate person. And Donna Lane is like, again, you've heard me mention it before, she's like the person. She's one who'll like teach training courses on this. I hope she does one soon, because I know I'll be sending Molly to that, so.
Yeah,
Thank you.
she is wonderful. All right, on the motion,
Yes.
Commissioner Tombrello,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Do we have any other new business or old business?
I have one old business if it's okay. I'm bringing up THC and I'm just going to bring
Bringing up what?
THC as
Oh.
part of the drug screening process. I'm going to bring forward a memorandum just to memorialize the different departments that will still keep the THC as part of their drug screen and those that will not. We know the nursing home was not, but just on that, so that I have it in my files and it's also in the medical arena for Martha going forward, so that she is able to go back to that.
That's appropriate.
Thank you.
All right, any public comment? I don't see anyone on Zoom land or here, so with that concludes our public session, and I'll take a motion to move into non-public session.
Make a motion to go to non-public on the New Hampshire RSA 91-8:3, Roman two, a personnel.
Second.
On the motion, Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
Commissioner Tombrello, and I vote yes. So it is 10:20.
It really.
Hello, everyone. We have returned from non-public session and we had 5 non-public sessions. I moved to seal non-public session 2, 4, and 5 indefinitely because they could disclosure of the information could adversely affect the reputation other than a member of this board. And there's no final date that at this time, date uncertain, so we are sealing it indefinitely.
Second.
Oh,
Okay, is there any discussion
No.
on the motion? Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
Commissioner Tombrello,
yes.
and I vote yes. And I'll entertain one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion?
All right.
Aye, we're so adjourned. Thanks,
All
everyone.
right.